Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see you all here. Thank you for listening to my answers to the question given. My name is Shabrina Felia. My friends call me Felia, and I am a Management International class student of Universitas Tanjungpura with a student number B1024191029. Today I am here to answer the questions given by my lecturer, Mr. Adi Mursalin. Firstly, I will answer the question part A, which deal with the activities in the Zoom meeting. There are 4 questions there. And next I will answer the question on part B, which deal with the theories of advanced human resource management. There are 13 questions, and then I will read 2 cases given and answer the questions that follow. Well, my dear friends, let me begin my answers. The first one is part A. Number 1, my answer is yes, I am active in attending the lecture of organizational behavior. I always give the opening and closing comments when I attend the class. I also engaged in the discussion handled by my friends. I asked a question for group 4 that presented chapter 9 about the foundation of group behavior, and asked a questions for Octavia's group that presented chapter 10 about understanding the work team. For question number 2, my answer is there are 10 chapters that have been presented before the final term task. Chapter 8 about motivation, presented by Jennifer Angela and Nikomang Amanda. Chapter 9 about the topic is about the foundation of group behavior, presented by group 4, Agi Mayara, Sylvia Dwi Arindi, and Cikarania. Chapter 10, the topic is about understanding the teamwork, presented by Octavia's and Catherine group. Chapter 11, the topic about communication, presented by Muhammad Arazi Bagaswara and Andrian Yowando. Chapter 12, the material is about leadership, presented by my group. Group 3, Delviana Sukmamawarni, Shabrina Felia, and Julia Goyovi. Chapter 13, the topic is about power and politics, presented by group 11, Arya Raditya, Kevin Nathanael, and Aji Pangestu. Chapter 14, the topic about conflict and negotiation, presented by group 2, Fanny Deswita, Adelia Putri Adiko, and Sharon. Chapter 15, the topic is about foundation of organization structure, presented by group 10, Ria Sandora, Stevi Loresia, and Villa Shola Grecia. Chapter 16, the topic is about organizational culture, presented by group 2, Elisa Febrianti and Dewi Winarni. The last one is chapter 17, about human resource policies and practices, presented by Wahyu Andika and Cristobal Tanheitavino. For question number 3, my answer is I learned a lot of new things. I learned about how the motivation affects organization success, about the foundation of organizational behavior, which is very important, about teamwork, about communication, also about leadership and how to be a good leader, and many more. And for the question number 4, my answer is we use Robbins and Judge organizational behavior patterns whole 2012. We can easily find the book on Google and Google Scholar. Now we are moved to the next part B. For the question number 1, my answer is in organizational behavior, leadership is an adaptable force that is constantly in motion. When the behavior and culture of an organization change or shifts, the leadership change along with it. Leadership can be defined as the ability of the management to make sound decisions and inspire others to perform well. It is the process of directing the behavior of others towards achieving a common goal. Next, the question number 2, my answer is there are 3 theoretical frameworks for organizational behavior. The first one is the cognitive framework. In cognitive framework, cognitions people behavior and constitute input into the person's thinking, perception, problem solving, and information processing. The second one is the behavioristic framework. Behavior could be best understood in terms of stimulus and responses. SR. Behavior in response to a stimulus is contingent on environmental consequences. Thus, it is important to note that a behavioristic approach is based on observable behavior and environmental variables, which are also observable. The last is the social cognitive framework. In the social cognitive theoretical framework, organizational participants are at the same time both products and producers of their personality, respective environments, and behaviors. The participants as a group produce the environment. Every individual is a product of the environment, and through his behavior changes the environment for others as well as for himself. Every individual is a product of his personality, but also influences his personality as a consequence of the results of his behavior. About the social cognitive approach, describes the influence of individual experiences, the action of others, and environmental factors on individual health behaviors, while the cognitive approach is an approach to psychology that attempts to explain human behavior by understanding your thought processes. The behaviorist approaches the learning studies changes in behavior that are caused by a person's direct experience of their environment, while social cognitive approach is a theory that emphasizes cognitive processes such as thinking and judging in the development of personality. Next, for the question number 3, my answer is there are 4 major challenges faced by today's manager. The first one is responding to globalization. Various forces of globalization are reshaping the business environment, generating new competitors and demanding new sourcing strategies and markets. In dynamic market situations, it's very hard to managers to predict any concrete goal and strategy for the business development. Today's managers are facing two questions because of globalization. How does relentless changes define the nature of management and the structure of an enterprise? And what role should management play in reshaping the enterprise? The second is managing workforce diversity. Because of globalization and open market system for business, management has to face diversity in workforce. Nowadays, businesses are spread over different cities in various countries. Thus, many times, not only gender and age diversity, but cultural diversity becomes more essential to manage the workforce. Basically, heterogeneity of people becomes a challenge for the managers because of variations in the ethics, motives, and working culture. Next is improving quality and productivity. Main problem for the management is to decide what is to produce, how much is to produce, and where is to be produced. Management has to decide either to produce different products or to emphasize one product. Once deciding this, managers have to make sure that the quality of the product is good. It takes a long time for the organizations to create a market about the product. But if there are any lacuna in quality and productivity, then because of high competition, it's become hard for the product to sustain in the market. And the last one is improving customer service. Improving customer service is sometimes when managers think they will get around in time, but that time rarely comes. Change in the requirements or change in the taste of customers become heartless in the environment of customer service. To solve this issue, many times managers try to set up scenarios that challenge employees and cover the full range of customer requests. At times, management also keeps two scenarios running parallel and asks employees to maintain balance. Next, for question number 4, part A, my answer is maybe I will consider it because I feel like work from home is not that bad at all. The advantages are I can still work and earn money from home. I don't have to worry about my lunch because I can have lunch at my home, and I don't have to dress up properly from 9 to 5. I don't have to face the traffic jam about every morning on my way to the office, and many other things. But there are also the disadvantages. I may work more than my working hours because maybe my leader gave me more work to do outside my work hour. And if there's any problem, I can ask for a help from my team directly. And because we are communicate to each other using chatting application, there must be some misunderstanding, and it's hard to fix if we still working with online basis. For the part B, my question is, as a manager, of course, there are a lot of challenges to managing the employees with this work from home situation. We can't control what they do at home. Do they do their job properly or not? We also can't help them directly if they have some problem with their work and many other things. So to monitor their performance, of course, we have to make an evaluation every month, or if we need, we have to do the evaluation every week, so we can figure out together what are the things that they didn't do properly and try to fix it together. Give them motivation and let them know that it is okay to make some mistakes sometimes, as long as we keep trying to be more better every day. And for the part C, the telecommunicating may have a negative impact on employees' career development. In the experiment at the Chinese travel agency, teleworkers were less likely to be promoted than equally productive employees who work in the office. This is probably because managers have better perceptions of employees who are present in the office. In the Chris Crutch case study, team leaders tended to think that employees were less productive under telework, on contrast to employees' self-reports that telework enhanced their concentration, motivation, and productivity. A new study of employees at the United States Technology Service Company found that extensive telecommunicating is associated with fewer promotions and a lower salary growth, but that telecommuters who have face-to-face time with managers or who perform supplemental work outside of normal hours have better outcomes. So supplemental work signals dedication to the job, but also blurs the boundary between work and home life, contributing to pressure to be always on. This COVID-19 situation may permanently change the way many of us work at present. Shifting as many people as possible to home-based telework is a necessary response to a terrible crisis. In the post-pandemic world, it may say with us as a popular practice that if done well, we can improve job satisfaction, raise productivity, reduce emissions, and spread work to more remote regions. Next, for the question number 5. This case talks about a person named Jane who joined an organizational behavior course with the intent to find clear-cut answers on how to be an effective manager or how to manage people effectively. In initial classes, the professor discusses the emerging challenges being faced in behavioral science. Those who suffer from anxiety, including panic attacks, are often under this impression that there is something wrong with them or something wrong is going to happen to them. If Jane wants to relieve her anxiety, she has to first understand the meaning of organizational behavior. Organizational behavior itself is the study of human behavior in organizational settings, how human behavior interacts with the organization and the organization itself. Although we can focus on any one of these three areas independently, we must remember that all three are ultimately connected and necessary for a comprehensive understanding of organizational behavior. For example, we can study individual behavior such as the behavior of a company's CEO or of one of its employees without explicitly considering the organization, but because the organization is influenced by the individual, we cannot fully understand the individual's behavior without knowing something about the organization. Similarly, we can study an organization without focusing specifically on each individual within it. Next, for the question number 6, my answer is there are 4 major challenges why diversity is important in organization. The first one is fresh opinion. Employee diversity can allow organizations to be exposed to a variety of background and knowledge, and embracing various employee experience is important because an organization should have people with individual opinions. A variety of perspectives benefits a company, especially in strategic planning and decision making. Second one is enhance organization culture. A company's culture is one of the core aspects of business, and for that reason, it is important to have a safe and healthy work environment. Diversity enhance and is the main driver of organizational culture. Next is efficiency. Teamwork with a diverse group of people in a company is proven more efficient in problem solving. Solutions to problems can be analyzed with various viewpoints, which allow problems to be solved faster. And the last one is innovation. One simple idea or thought can greatly impact an organization, whether it is related to how to solve a specific problem better and etc. Idea generation may be difficult, but it can be easier when there is a diverse group of people expressing and listening to each other's thoughts. Next is the question number 7. My answer is organizational culture is a system of shared assumptions, values, and beliefs which governs how people behave in organizations. These shared values have a strong influence on the people in the organization and dictate how they dress, act, and perform their jobs. Every organization develops and maintains a unique culture, which provide guidelines and boundaries for the behavior of the member of the organization. And the characteristics are: number 1 is innovation or risk orientation. Companies with cultures that place a high value on innovation encourage their employees to take risk and innovate in the performance of their jobs. Next is attention to detail or precision orientation. A culture that places a high value on attention to detail expects its employees to perform their work with precision. Next is emphasis on outcome or achievement orientation. A company that instructs its sales force to do whatever it takes to get sales order has a culture that places a high value on the emphasis and outcome characteristics. Next is emphasis on people or fairness orientation. Companies that place a high value on this characteristic of organizational culture place a great deal of importance on how their decisions will affect the people in their organization. Next is teamwork or collaboration orientation. Companies that organize work activities around team instead of individual place a high value on this characteristic of the organizational culture. Next is aggressiveness or competitive orientation. This characteristic of organizational culture dictates whether group members are expected to be assertive or easygoing when dealing with companies they compete within the marketplace. And the next one is stability or rule orientation. A company whose culture places a high value on stability is rule oriented, predictable, and bureaucratic in nature. These types of companies typically provide consistent and predictable levels of output and operate based in non-changing market conditions. Now we are moved to the next question number 8. My answer is the big 5 personality traits are: first is openness to experience, is a basic personality trait denoting receptivity to new ideas and new experiences. Next is conscientiousness, reflects the tendency to be responsible, organized, hardworking, goal-directed, and to adhere to norms and rules. Next is extroversion. It is a personality trait typically characterized by outgoingness, high energy, and or talkativeness. Next is agreeableness, a personality trait that can be described as cooperative, polite, kind, and friendly. People high in agreeableness are more trusting, affectionate, altruistic, and generally display more prosocial behaviors than others. Next is neuroticism. It is typically defined as a tendency toward anxiety, depression, self-doubt, and other negative feelings. Next is extraversion was in their study the factors which was most strongly associated with leadership and therefore the most important trait for effective leaders. The second factor was conscientiousness and openness, followed neuroticism was actually the third factor closely related to leadership, but it was negatively related to leadership. Agreeableness was only weakly associated with leadership. And understanding personality type can help you understand your preference and the preference of other people and how or why these might be different. Personality types are useful for recognizing how we lead, influence, communicate, collaborate, negotiate business, and manage stress. Next is question number 9. My answer is negative affectivity is negative emotions and expressions which includes sadness, disgust, lethargy, fear, and distress. While positive affectivity refers to positive emotions and expression including cheerfulness, pride, enthusiasm, energy, and joy. And employees with high negative affectivity frequently consult a great deal of information before they make any major decision. They often seek out exaggerated amounts of information just to make sure they do not miss any important aspect. This in turn ironically makes them less efficient in decision making. Next, question number 10. My answer is the link helps me to identify the style that I naturally lean toward and introduces me to alternative approaches that I might find helpful to develop and the occasions when they may be appropriate. My leadership style is a democratic. I got this style because I got my score is 25 and my leadership style is democratic participative leadership. Why? Because I tend to set the parameters for the work and have the final say on decisions, but I actively involve my team members in the process. As a result, I will likely gain creative input and fresh ideas that I wouldn't have come up with if I were working alone. Next, for the question number 11, for the question number 1, the case, as its name suggests, produces various examples of how the personality of individual can bring favorable outcomes to the organization. The case describes the experience in Apple computers. The organization was undergoing a downsizing and remaining employees were overburdened with larger hours of work schedule. Although few employees got stressed out, others seemed to enjoy the process and perform exceptionally, bringing out results for the organization. Some people tend to perform exceptionally well in extreme situations and also enjoy the process. For the second question, the case shows Wayne Huizenga is a highly positive individual with a supreme confidence about his abilities. Even though he had the skill to identify potential ideas, it requires a great confidence and belief in one's own ability to carry forward with those ideas when the market is skeptical about those ideas. A low self-esteem individual may not be confident about their thinking ability and may be reluctant to change. In Wayne Huizenga, none of these traits are observed, which could have held him back from his success. Hence, a major contribution factor for his success is his high self-esteem and positive self-image. And for the last question, Wine's strategy is to keep everybody happy. If anyone is not, Wine's employees are to fix it. So as he tells his people, if you see a hotel guest with the tiniest frown on her face, don't ask a supervisor, take care of it. And erase the charge, send the dinner back, don't charge for the room. And in addition, Wine sponsors elaborate parties to honor staffers who have kept the most customers happy. At one recent party for a Vietnamese woman who has being honored as Employee of the Year, Wine brought in George and Barbara Bush to congratulate the lady. It costs a lot of money for the party, but as Wine puts it, it's an investment. Next is question number 12. Well, I got a lot of new insight from studying organizational behavior in this one semester, especially about how to manage teamwork in organization, about leadership, about communication, about motivation, and about conflict and negotiation that will help me when I go to work in the future. And the last question number 13, my answer is I presented about leadership. It is really important because in the future, as marketing students, I might be a leader for my marketing department too. So the material that I've presented explains what is the difference between leadership and manager, how to be a good leader, how to improve my leadership skill and the quality of a good leader. Well, my friends, that's all my answers. I hope that you can understand my answers. Please give comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in another occasion. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.